Hey!
We are doing our spoiler-filled review of Hellboy.
Hellboy 2019.
Hellboy 2019. We've just been to see it. It was absolutely brilliant.
Totally spot
I'm
on.
going to let him run down the elements that were in the movie purely because he knows the comic books far better than I do. I mean, there were things I could pick out and go, I know that because I've read it over your shoulder in bed at some point.
Pip's been reading
Or
these.
you pointed... he'll be reading in bed and I'll be like, what's that? That's Baba Yaga. What's that? That's this thing. Oh, that's not very nice.
That's not very nice.
Anyway, so elements. We'll start from the beginning and end at the end.
We'll just run through this as quick as I can without getting into too much of a thing. So, first off, like we said in the...
I'm going to be quiet and drink my tea.
Like we said in the non-spoiler review, it's a solid film. Like, it is an actual comic book horror movie. It is the spirit of Hellboy, like the comic in a film. And, oh, pardon me. What is it? Is it Orchard Pig?
Orchard Pig cider.
Magic stuff.
Yeah, we went straight from there to a weird hotel restaurant gin vodka whiskey bar thing, and
It's very funky.
it's cool. I drank gin.
Yeah,
He had cider and burgers.
it was good.
It was
Yum, yum,
good.
yum.
I have a headache because I've had too much to drink
Yeah,
and
we
not enough
actually,
fluid, so
actually
I'm drinking tea
drinking
because
tea.
tea good.
What were we talking about again?
You were talking about stuff in Hellboy.
Stuff in Hellboy. Okay. So in the in the non-spoiler review, we said about that it was just a solid film. Like the spirit of the comic book comes through. You were saying something about the directorial issues that apparently they switched directors later.
Yeah, I was
but
reading
I don't know so much
something.
about
I was
that.
reading article because I'm somebody who reads synopses before I watch films. I like to know about them. He doesn't, and that's fine. I don't ever do spoilers for people. Like, I will never spoil a film. I don't tell anybody anything about what I know. I just like to research it. So I did a bit of research, and I know that there were issues with and I don't know what the exact issues are, and I'm not going to try and go into them because I will probably be incorrect. But I know that there was an issue with the directing, and at some point changes were made with who was directing what, and things happened, which I think's... I don't know why. The film was still a solid film, and I don't understand from some of the reviews that we've seen where people going, oh, it's a terrible film, and everything was forced through, and this was... I was like, what?
Fuck off.
But
Quite frankly, fuck off.
It was really fun. Like, there was nothing... there was nothing that I didn't like. I was like, people were quoting lines from the film like, is that my Uber? Or, can you Google translate that for me? And other quotes like that were in the movie. And I was like, but they were perfect for what was happening in the scenes. And I'm like, why are you...
They're just hating.
Why do you have a problem with this? And it was like, oh, and it was scenes felt rushed, and the exposition felt like it was...
Okay,
and I was
so
like, but I didn't
get, like, there were a couple of points where the exposition was heavier than it needed to be. But for a film that overall, average...
Well, it's for a film that was based on so many different aspects of so many different comic books, and for somebody who knows nothing going into the movie,
you'd need a lot of that stuff.
You'd need the exposition, because you'd find yourself going,
what the hell?
Oh, this is a person that exists in this world now, and that thing, and that thing.
They ran a lot of stuff. Like, there were backstories for just about every single character in that film. Every last fucking one of them.
Yeah. So, it went into detail as to why they wanted to attack Hellboy, or why they had a problem with Hellboy. Because like the main, they've got
you got the Blood Queen.
The Blood Queen.
So the only real bum note in the entire thing, I'm just going to run this chronologically because I think otherwise we're going to get derailed and go off in different directions.
I just realised I keep falling off the camera.
Come here. I'll keep you in.
Yay.
So what ends up happening in the beginning is you've got, and this is the biggest bum note in the whole movie. Ian McShane doing a voiceover over this kind of throwback to
Arthur, medieval...
King Arthur killing the Blood Queen and chopping her up into pieces and putting her in a box. But the cock up with it is like, you've got this visual and, haha, I killed you and I'm going to put you in a box. And then Ian McShane voiceovers. So then he cut her up and he put her in a box.
And then they cut her up and
it's
put
like,
her in a box.
Like redundancy. Like, they could have done the entire sequence without the voiceover. Yeah. And it was so ham-fisted.
I think also our
unworthy
cinema...
of everything following that.
Our cinema didn't help too much because there was no intro to the film. It just started.
Were you that surprised?
I was.
Seriously, it said now showing Hellboy rating.
I didn't see
didn't
that.
see that?
I literally was it was like a shitty advert, and then it was like Ian McShane's voice, and I was like, oh, is this like the intro before Hellboy pops up on the screen? And I was like,
it popped up. It said Hellboy rated whatever,
Yeah,
and
okay.
then the movie started.
Okay, no, maybe I'm used to bigger cinemas where IMAX where they just show us shit for 20 minutes before we get to see a movie.
Yeah, you're expecting at least another 70
But
minutes
yeah,
worth of Coke ads.
I didn't mind that. It was cheesy, but it was okay. So anyway, Bug Queen gets head chopped off, put in boxes. She's distributed across the kingdoms.
And they rode on their horses, and they kind of rode off into the distance, and then took left and right.
But I was expecting him to, because it was with it, and they were spread far and wide, and I was expecting Ian McShane to be like, but not wide enough.
Yeah,
you know.
There were a couple of points
I was waiting for a joke, and I was like,
yeah,
no, okay.
But he's kind of very harsh and edgy, and
I really like Ian McShane. Like I really like him.
I think
for
he's
me,
so
he's
many
just
things...
Lovejoy, just the auctioneer Lovejoy that my parents watched as a kid.
What's that?
It was Lovejoy. It was a British like TV show, and he was an auctioneer who went around shagging lots of ladies. And my parents used to watch this like daytime TV thing.
Good for him.
And he was called Lovejoy, and that's what I remember him from. He had long hair. It was great. He had long hair, and he was about 30 years younger.
Oh God.
But Ian McShane's great. I really like him. Right, so introduction.
Introduction sucked. Then it goes straight into what is like a really so the entire movie is comprised of highly compressed
storylines from comics.
Storylines from the comics, because
so it starts with luchadors.
Full transparency here. Like I'm a Hellboy fan like hands down. I've read all the stuff. I love it. I enjoy it. It is what it is.
Yes. So when we're talking about,
I'm not letting that taint my kind of.
No, you're not letting it taint your opinion. But I was gonna say, but it does mean that when we talk about the story sections that it goes into, you know what you're talking about.
I've got kind of a knowledge on it at least. And the luchador thing was fantastic.
Yeah, that was really fun.
It was wonderful, and it was kind of just this, like the camera pans in. You got this moment where kind of Hellboy is talking to that was the other thing that was weird, is that they call him Professor Bruttenholm.
Yeah.
Like it's spelt Bruttenholm, but it said Broom.
Yeah, it's Professor Broom.
And it even says it like in the first comic. Like it says spelt like this, said like this, which I thought was a weird choice to make.
Yeah, well no, it just may mean that either they didn't pay enough attention to know how to pronounce his name correctly.
The theory I've got on this is that maybe what they did was they just decided, you know what, this is a complication we don't need.
We're going to pronounce it as
We're just going to pronounce it the way it's written.
Okay.
And because it would have been lip service to comic book nerds, and that's really the only value.
But there should be more lip service to comic book nerds.
The entire movie was lip service to comic book nerds.
He's talking to his dad, and he wants to go get his friendo back. And his friendo has disappeared and has been gone for like 4 weeks, and he's run off to go and get rid of a nest of vampires in Mexico. In
Mexico.
No, it's in
Tijuana.
Yeah.
Isn't Tijuana in Mexico?
It's in New Mexico.
Is it?
Yeah. Tijuana, New Mexico.
That's like Mexico, but like more shiny and
I'm
less.
not good at geography.
Less pain-flaked.
I'm not good at geography.
Well,
I'm from the northwest. You're from the
Tijuana.
southeast. It's all good.
Yeah, he's basically going to go and save. They've retrofitted it that he's an agent. That Esteban Ruiz is an agent.
But he was just his friendo in the books.
In the books, basically Hellboy went on this kind of 6-8 month bender in Mexico with a bunch of luchadors.
And got married.
Yeah, and he got married. And they went out and got rat-assed, and they basically would wrestle and get rat-assed. Like, for money, they'd wrestle as part of their earning, and then at night they'd go and hunt vampires. And this is... Oh, no, the other way around. Because you hunt vampires during the daytime, I think.
Either way.
Well, they basically party and get drunk, and Esteban was one of his mates.
Yeah.
And it was just wonderful to see that kind of brought into this thing, and this really tightly compacted Hellboy story. Because normally the formula for a Hellboy story is situation, Hellboy knocks at the door, large quantity of exposition about the history of this building or the people related to this or everything that happened to this in this building. Then kind of Hellboy asks a question, then he says, okay, I'll go and deal. Then Hellboy walks off into the dark, gets the shit kicked out of him, pulled into the dark. Somewhere there are tentacles, there's punchy, kicky, breaky, wallsy.
Yep.
And then there's a moment of kind of a reveal where generally the person who was giving the exposition was the baddie or was in with the baddie. And then this whole Hellboy shoots the monster in the face, punches it to death, whatever it is.
Everything ends good.
And then the story ends.
Yeah.
And normally there's a real kind of heavy kind of heart twist in the story. So it's not just this like vacant thing. But Hellboy, basically, you can see him, he's like carrying the weight of his right hand of doom. And it's really bearing down on him and everything, but he's a nice guy and he tries his best to kind of help people where he can.
Yeah, so they fit this whole story into the space of him wrestling this guy in the wrestling ring, and then it's revealed that the guy is a vampire now, and he starts to turn into this, and when we're talking vampire, we're talking big flying bat-winged,
like
man bat.
Just like in the trailer.
So then he kills him by throwing him on top of one of the wooden pegs at the edge of the ring.
Yeah.
Slashy, throw the blood and death, and
we were buds, man. We were buds.
And it tells him that the end of the world is coming, and we know that in the end you're gonna fuck it up. It's pretty much what everyone tells him throughout the film is the end of the world is coming, and it's your fucking fault.
You shouldn't be here, and he's got no clue. So.
No, what people need to understand, and I think will be the problem, is people having seen the first two, going into this thinking, well, doesn't Hellboy already know that he has this beast inside him, or know that he's
We've spoken to two people today and said that we watched this movie and they go, oh, is this the third one?
Yeah.
And I think that managing the expectations, I think that's probably influencing what's going on.
Because I think people are watching this movie and they're expecting Hellboy to have the same knowledge that he has by the end of the first and second movie. So he knows that he potentially can cause Armageddon, and he knows that his dad was sent to kill him and all this kind of, but he doesn't. Like,
his dad was sent to kill him? Oh yeah, Professor. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm being pedantic. Ignore me.
So in this, he's learning these things for the first time, and so you're seeing him coming to terms.
He's totally ignorant for the duration, right up until kind of it's about the 2/3 mark. So okay, wrestling match. Then you get the introduction of kind of the.
Then you get really fucking drunk Hellboy mourning the death of his friends.
Straight into the continuation of that storyline, which was amazing.
So then gets picked up by BPRD, taken back.
They peel him up off the pavement.
And
take him back to America.
Take him back to America, but in between that, there's kind of you get this conversation between this very wronged creature that you don't see because it's in the shadows, who's talking to Baba Yaga, which we know it's Baba Yaga because we've read the comic books,
but
so
no
we
one
know.
else would.
No, so it's this really fucked up, creepy looking witch thing who's missing an eye because Hellboy shot her in the eye.
Shot her eye out.
But again, this is something that you don't.
But
you don't find that out until later on.
You don't need to know that for the story to move along. So they've measured out the exposition. They have. The other kind of hammy bit of the exposition in that was kind of like Gregok, I can never say his name, it's this big pig guy, is talking there to Baba Yaga, and he said, "Why did you summon me?" And then she says there's like a repetition in what she says, and she says, I summoned you here because you're going to. It was just
because I need your help to do this thing with this stuff, and it's pretty much she wants the Blood Queen back, but we're not quite sure. Like, we never really understand.
I know why.
Well, you'll know why, because they're assuming that there's going to make another 2 movies.
No, not at all. Because strictly speaking, this entire arc, so they've compacted a whole bunch of other stories into it, but this arc was the Wild Hunt.
Yeah.
And
wasn't it Baba Yaga with the sister of the trolls, or was it sister of the giants or something? The people turning to stone. What was that story?
People turning to stone?
Yeah, there was something to do with Baba Yaga and her sister. And
no! This was the one with the mermaids.
Okay, because I was thinking. No, I'm thinking of there's a story with Baba Yaga, and then you were telling me that it was to do with her sister's dead, and it was something to do with Hellboy had something to do with the sister, and there was something to do with her using a spoon to.
Oh yeah, no, that was something completely different. That had nothing to do with Baba Yaga. That was another short story. It was about a Nordic thing with this troll spoon.
Oh, I thought that was.
Yeah, it was 2 sisters. So a lady.
Okay, right. Scratch all of that.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with it.
Okay.
But
right.
So what I was looking up was trying to work out what the second arc was, because it was the Wild Hunt. And then the arc that follows that is basically the last arc of Hellboy's life.
Yeah.
So that was what I was confused about, because they've taken all of these things that literally ends with Hellboy dying, and then the next kind of massive arc after that is Hellboy in Hell, where he's actually dead, and kind of coming to terms with all this stuff. So you've
just told everyone that Hellboy dies. Spoiler alert! Hellboy dies!
I'll put a big... Okay, so the Baba Yaga thing basically is she's playing the entire board for her own gains, because she's pro fairy folk, pro monsters, which wasn't quite as obvious in what they did with the movie.
Okay.
But the thing to know about Gragok, the pig guy, is that in addition to kind of his beef with Hellboy from kind of previous stuff, which they expose and all that stuff later, there's been this kind of slow decline of the fairy folk. So that's really his major motivation, because he's actually beautiful, which they didn't quite. So, like, when I say they compressed a lot of stuff, they turned a lot of corners that didn't need to be gone down, because there weren't any kind of, like, there wasn't any story gold at the end of those kind of storylines as far as like a film adaptation went. Okay. It just would have got too convoluted. Okay. So, like, there was an entire storyline with Alice where he doesn't just kind of pinch the changeling. Yeah, so I think we're getting a little bit... We are getting... I'm sorry, I'm getting ridiculous.
It's fine. I knew we were going to end up going down the comic book route. So pretty much, we've got the introduction with the Blood Queen.
Yes.
Then we move on to Hellboy and the Luchadors. Yes. Then we have the introduction to Baba Yaga and the Pig Guy.
Yeah, and then back to the BPRD.
Back to the BPRD.
Where you meet his dad. And you have this lovely, the lovely kind of interchange with them, and they're talking about shaving.
Yeah.
And it's a father-son...
Yep, you can see it's taking his horns down and all this kind of stuff, and it's nice.
It's really
and
it's just really peaceful.
Yeah. Then he's told that there's a giant problem, and he's sent to this sect
to Englandshire,
to the Osiris
Club,
where they're not the Osiris Club in America, because that has strippers.
Which he specifies.
So he's sent to the Osiris Club, where they talk about how there have been giants in Britain for years, and most of them buried under the ground. Yeah. In which, in this, what I found quite fun was that the giants in the movie were made up of like trash. You know, when they drain rivers and you see like all the crap laying, there was like old trolleys and things laying in the riverbed. That's what these looked like. They looked like they were made up of like debris.
They've taken the debris though as well, and they've used it to create armor. Did you see that the one had a shoulder pad that was a car door?
No, I didn't see that.
And the other one had like an anchor.
I saw the anchor, yeah.
Like all his shin pads and stuff was made
very
up
good. So anyway, so he's told he has to go and help these guys kill these three giants, and they lead him across this little bridge, and he's like, and it feels like, you know, Billy Groat's Bruff.
Christ, I saw that coming.
Yeah, so the guys are all like, oh no, we're very posh and very English, which doesn't change my accent very much. But we're very posh and we're very English, and we need to go and kill these giants, and you need to come and help us. Yeah. And so they ambush him, and they literally, I mean, like they just decide that they're going to murder. They're going to murder Hellboy because they've got two separate issues. Yeah, they've got a psychic who was there at Hellboy's birth into this world with his father. And he was basically ushered in, he was brought into the world to end the world. To end the world. By the Nazis. You know, like, Nazis are never good. So Hellboy's now like, great, I'm a demon, now I'm a Nazi. Wonderful. Yeah. So there's a woman, this woman there is a psychic, and she's predicted that Hellboy is going to fuck up the world, and so she's convinced these guys they need to kill him. So they followed the trail of the... I'm talking quickly. Follow the trail of the giants. I'm go down the rabbit hole and stuff. Yeah, we need to not do that. Yeah. Going down, follow the giants. They know there's three. They've seen the footsteps, and these guys attack Hellboy. And they've shown him that they've got these giant spears that they can electrocute, but they are literally stabbing fucking holes in him. It's and he is like, so violent. Like, it's mincemeat, and like, you're sitting there going, for fuck's sake, stop hurting him. You're hurting him. You're really hurting Hellboy now. Can you stop, please? Well, they're electrocuting him. He was getting really upset. It was not cool. So anyway, so he's like collapsed in the water. And the lead guy that's doing this, his head flies past him and into the water as the giants come back. And then it's Hellboy versus the giants. And it's a super fun fight and it's heavy action, but it's real.
Fantastic.
The music's fantastic and it's proper comic book action. So he's like thrown fucking miles away by like a giant hammer that one's got for the hand. And it's really fun.
Wonderful.
It's really good.
And he just basically stabs this thing in the eye and it comes back at him and he dodges the thing. And
it's a great fight. It's a really great fight scene. So that ends. He collapses. His car pulls up, and he's like, "Oh, it's just my Uber," which I thought was great, funny. So, and then he's saved by Alice.
Now, Alice is straight out of the comic books. She is
pick up the comic book and wave it.
Yeah, she is
from this one in particular.
From this one in particular, this is Chain Coffin and Others. Now, in this. The story specifically is called The Corpse, which is this story here.
And one thing I will say before we get into talking about it is that one of the big elements of this story in particular is that Hellboy is walking around with the corpse on his back, which helps him get to place. It helps him. He basically him find stuff, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's basically given a task. Yeah. So the way Alice comes into being, and they kind of do the kind of backwards exposition on it, is that. That Hellboy gets called in on one of his regular gigs, and just like I said about the system, like the format of things.
Just not going too much.
Not going to go into it. Sorry. So he gets called in to basically help some parents who are concerned that their baby's being funny, and he says, "Aha, it's a changeling," and there you've got it right there. He basically shows the baby iron.
Because fairies are allergic to iron.
And the baby
fairy folk are.
The baby freaks the fuck out. So he pinches it with some pinches. With some iron clamps. And that's the pig guy, that's Graglock. Yeah. And he basically threatens it and says, "You give me the damn baby back," and then gets given this whole task. And they like I said, they clipped it really short.
Yeah, so literally, like he says, "If you don't fucking give me this baby back,
I'm gonna come and kill you."
So the baby turns up on the doorstep. But the thing is, he has this in the book. He has his whole task with the corpse on his back, and he has to bury this corpse in this place where it should rest
to get the baby
get the baby back. Now, I have a feeling they didn't put that element in because it's used so heavily in the previous original sort of Hellboy movie, Guillermo del Toro movie, and because I feel like people will be like, "But that's been
was it Istvan
done, or it was Ivan."
Ivan, Ivan the corpse.
Ivan, because
can you hold him? Can you hold this guy? He's really negative. But there's the look that kind of Pip's talking about.
Yeah, this thing here because it's in the first movie, and I have a feeling that if they put it into this, people would be a little much. People would be like, "Well, that's been done, but it was some other character, and I don't understand why they've taken this." So I can see why they just cut that. It wasn't necessary.
But it would have slowed the entire momentum of the film down.
So anyway, so baby turns up on doorstep, and that cuts. So you don't need to know any more about Alice really, other than that's the past.
Hellboy saved Alice years and years ago. He's very long lived.
Yeah, and so Alice now, who is mid-20s, has saved Hellboy after he's beaten the giants and it's collapsed. She's rescued him. They save a Jabberwocky poem. So he's like, "Oh, you're Alice," and he's like, and she's a psychic medium. Since she was taken by the fairies and come back, she can do things and she can see things and she experiences stuff. Her parents are both dead now.
She's got a connection with the fairy folk after being abducted.
Yeah, so she so they get attacked, sort of, but it's actually BPRD have just turned up to bring Hellboy home because they're like, well, he disappeared and everything was a fucking mess. So we kind of thought you might be,
and the revelation, like Hellboy's of course pissed with his old man because he's just heard all the stuff that his old man did that his dad never kind of told him. So Professor Broom was sent with a bunch of other BPRD agents when Hellboy was born to take care of whatever this threat was that the Nazis were raising. Yeah. And the only reason Hellboy survived is because Professor Broom looked at him and said, "I want this. He's my son." Yeah. And he adopted him as his son, and so there's of course kind of the friction over that situation.
Yeah, it's the sudden realization that your father was sent to kill you. Well, the person that you know is your father.
And you've never been told.
No, so now he's a little bit pissed at him. But yeah, and then you introduced to Daniel Day Kim's character, Die something or other. I didn't hear his name pronounced properly.
It's Diam or Damn.
Something like that. But it's Daniel Day Kim. And you might probably remember him as Jin in Lost.
Jin in Lost? Jin.
Oh! Yeah, there we go. Korean guy.
He drinks gin.
No. But no, he was really fun. Like he's got these big scars down his face, and he tells you this
full Avatar.
Yes, he tells you this. Yes, bad guy from Avatar. So he tells you this story about how he'd been in Belize and with the military there, and they'd been attacked by some.
He's a were leopard.
He's a were leopard. So everything I can think of he is, he's a cat man.
Yeah.
Catman do.
Catman do. I knew you were going to go there.
So anyway, he's been. He was. You're not told what's wrong with him, but you're aware throughout. No, he's got a chip on his shoulder, and you're aware throughout the movie he's constantly freaking out a little bit and pulling this medical jab thing and injecting himself something.
Jekyll and Hyde injection thing.
Throughout the movie, so he does this, but you never know what it is. But we obviously have, as he tells the story, we see this big cat thing attack him, and that's it. You know, you never hear any more of the story.
Of all the characters in this film, he's the only one I'm not familiar with. Like in the Hellboy canon.
Hellboy.
And I think he comes in later episodes of the BPRD. Daniel Day Kim wasn't originally going to play this character. There was an issue with whitewashing. They whitewashed the shit out of it. They tried to cast, was it Jude Law or something?
So, I can't remember who it was, but the person that actually was given the role.
They stepped down after
They stepped down. They wrote a really beautiful letter saying that they felt it was inappropriate for them to take this role. Daniel Day Kim actually went to try and speak to the guy. To find out if he had actually written the letter himself, and he was like, the guy had actually, it wasn't like his.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it wasn't like the guy's agent. The actor himself had actually said, "I want to step down because it feels inappropriate." So Daniel Day Kim
sense that it was kind of the right call.
It was the right call, and Daniel Day Kim was fantastic. It was really good.
It was a good. It was like the tonal difference between kind of like David Harbour. Alice, I don't know the girl.
I don't know her name, but that's also what was quite nice because in the comic book, Alice is a red-haired Irish chick.
Yeah.
And then she's like a black English gal in this, and I'm like, she's just wonderful. She's a really good actress.
She was spot on. And
she was brilliant.
Feisty as hell.
Yeah, she was feisty, and it was great. And she bad at cooking breakfast though.
Yeah,
Burns toast.
So let's plow ahead.
So
we get introduced to the new characters.
They don't like each other.
Shit's gonna hit the
fan. The witch gets the witch whose name we haven't even mentioned. Her name. Nimue, who's queen of the blood fairies and all this kind of stuff.
Who was stabbed in the groin by Arthur.
Yes. She can't die.
Spear.
She can't die, and when she died, when she was sliced up into pieces, her blood went into a tree and anything. So, anyway, so Pig Guy is collecting bits of her, he's sticking her back together.
Murdering monks.
He goes through a place to steal body parts, and
that was fantastic.
She's there watching TV with one arm and one leg, and like her head balanced on top of the torso, going, well. They don't kill each other anymore. They just have singing competitions on TV.
Jesus. She was actually really good.
Yeah, she was really fun.
Like she can get really Mila Jovovich into her roles, but she managed to kind of tone it down. She toned it down, and it worked for what she was doing.
She was just great. So anyway, so you get sort of hints of that. I mean, we just need to not go into too much details because the beginning's easier.
Yeah.
So you're pretty much finding there's this issue with Daniel Day Kim doesn't want to work with Hellboy and the girl and Alice, but Hellboy's like, Alice is coming with me, and he doesn't trust. There's a lot of trust issues.
Yeah, it's kind of his personal arc as the story goes along.
So they're going along, trying to stop.
So they go to do some research. They go to the fish and chip shop BPRD.
Yep.
With what's that lady's name from EastEnders?
Lady from Mo from EastEnders, who's actually Gary Oldman's sister in real life.
I didn't know that until
now you do.
There you go.
Yeah.
So they go to the BPRD. Hellboy has a tiff with his old man. Basically, just over this entire situation.
He goes pissed. And he's like, "Fuck this! I'm leaving." Storms off, but he goes to go up in an elevator. And it just takes him down and down and down. And he ends up goes into some kind of alternate reality. Yeah,
the Baba Yaga basically summons him.
Yeah.
And then basically her kind of deal comes out where she says to him, "Hey, I want your eye, and in exchange, I'll help you." Get what you need
from it. But what's happened prior to this that we haven't mentioned
is that
Hellboy has been introduced to almost like the spirit of Nimue. She's talked to him and she's almost kind of hypnotized him slightly, or she's opened his eyes to the issue. When the overriding issue of the film is that magical folk, fairies, demons, everything else versus humans. The whole problem is that all of them are being killed off, and Hellboy's going, well, these guys, why do we have to die? Yeah. Why do I have to fight these people that are my people.
He spent his entire life murdering his own kind.
Yeah, and he's suddenly getting this realization of, is it right for me to be killing my own kind? He's like, but if you weren't if we weren't killing them, would they be killing us?
Yeah.
And his and Professor Broom's like, but it doesn't work like that. They have been killing us.
Yeah.
It's like when Baba Yaga is eating a pot of child stew.
Yeah, he's kind of like, what do you got for dinner? And there's fingers in the pot.
Yeah, you around the corner of these like
strung up children on the corner.
It's honestly this
is amazing. It's a fun horror movie.
It really is a horror. It is very much a horror movie.
Like, they're marketing it as a superhero movie, which I don't understand.
It's a real. It really is a gory horror movie. It's
magic.
So pretty much anyway. So Baba Yaga talks to her over dinner table. She is just. She's so creepy. The face is all rubberized.
And she's reversing.
She's like flipping her body around, and she's got legs that are wooden stumps, and she's all like
her legs are kind of like hinged at
stumps,
the knees, but she's kind of contorting and twisting, and then she gives him the tongue to seal the deal, which is just, and it is. You just look at this and go.
He just drool everywhere.
And this white smear across his face.
So
and
then
he's
they
just
get into a
sitting
fight, and
she says, give me your eye and I'll give you what you need. And he goes, sure.
Yep, sure, you can have my eye. And then she goes, right. So he tells her what he needs to know. And then she's like, give me your eye. And he's like, oh, I didn't specify a time limit on that. And like he fucks off and she fights him. And the fight's really, really...
Oh, it's creepy.
The thing is, it's a fast-paced fight. But it isn't so fast that you can't watch... Because some fights you get in movies, you're like... I don't know what's happening. Oh god, my head hurts.
Every Transformers movie ever made, like the Michael Bay stuff,
this was
you get lost. Like one of the big things
really
about Guillermo del Toro films is that like even within like Pacific Rim, you never lose the action. Like you always you
so
can
this
always
wasn't
follow.
a Guillermo del Toro movie.
No, I know that.
Okay.
This is what I'm doing as a comparison because like the difference between like Michael Bay films is everything goes and the camera angles change so quickly and you can't keep track.
And then they go into the bin.
Yeah, you're so fucking confused. Why would you bother just like doing any special effects budget at all?
Yeah.
Just fucking shake the camera like this and go, you fuckers, you paid money for the... So yeah.
So he fights with Baba Yaga, which is it's a really interesting fight.
Oh, they're all good.
I know, he leaves and he drops
him off
and he just literally like falls out of the sky into the office where he was talking at the beginning of the story with his dad before he got in the elevator and left.
Come back in the frame.
Sorry. I'm just like, over here.
So he basically comes back and says, I know where we gotta go, let's go.
We need to go to Pendle Hill.
So then they have their altercation.
There is a story of the Pendle witches was a real thing in England where women were strung up. There's a thing where it's like the witches were had their tongues cut out and their mouths filled with maggots and were buried alive. Go England. We're wonderful over here. But anyway, so he goes to Pendle Hill. Mila Jovovich.
Yeah, he has his first kind of big altercation with her in person. She's newly sewn together. She's newly sewn together.
You see her getting stitched together and she's screaming. She's drawn her blood life out of this tree again, and she's
at full capacity.
She's at full capacity. He gets into a fight with her. As Daniel Day Kim and Alice are fighting zombie witch things that are coming out of the ground, which look very cool, and there's like maggots pouring out the mouth.
It's really like the pacing of this film is solid. It's like each section just butts into the next, and you don't have it's really well paced. Like you've got enough time to catch your breath in between things, but it just plows through. What
we've forgotten before this whole thing happened is that we'll need to edit this in earlier. I think is that. So before he even goes to meet the witch, he goes to BPRD. Sorry, no, he goes to the office of Osiris, and all of them have been slaughtered by the pig guy because the final remaining part of Nimoy is there, which is her hand, which was casting a spell at the beginning of the film.
I think I just shrugged that off, to be honest.
Yeah, he's beaten the shit out of all of them. No, but this is
the pig guy.
This is where you initially see that Alice has a power where she can, and you might have seen this in images, like old images of occult seances.
It's proper.
In old occult ectoplasm. So she puts her hand on somebody who's half dead, and the spirit's absorbed into it, and it funnels out of her mouth as this big pool of goo.
It looks like organs and things.
It's horrible. It's wonderful though.
Brilliant.
So it's like a bag of slurry with a person talking out of it. So she does that with.
That's totally just just for the movie.
Yeah, and it was great. It was wonderful.
Perfect.
Yeah, it worked
was a perfect
so well.
skill thing.
So anyway, we'll just need to mention that earlier on in this thing. We'll clip it in.
Okay.
So anyway, back to being on the hill.
Yeah, so they have
because
the
when I was going to say because when they start fighting the zombie witches on the hill, Alice realizes that she's punching them, and she's punching the souls out of the bodies. I think
that was wonderful.
She's like punches this witch, and this like blue soul flies out the body, and the body collapses to the floor. And it's like she's just punching souls out of bodies, and it's like discovering more of her power as she goes along. There's just
like more cool shit as the movie progresses. It's like this cool shit happens, then the next cool shit happens.
One thing we forgot to mention at the beginning is that Merlin, the wizard, was with King Arthur.
Yeah, but we were going to get to that anyway.
So, Hellboy fights with a witch.
Nimue basically gives Alice a needle to the throat.
From a crown thing, she pings.
You dead,
the one big thing that happened is Nimue spreads plague. That's what she does. She spread Great Plague of London. I'm assuming is what they're saying that she did. Or
they said it was kind of the Black Death of the Middle Ages. And
so she's back. She's going to give it to a lot of people, and she fucking does.
They basically open a portal and fuck off with Pig Guy.
Yeah.
Off into London to go and spread the plague. And then they fuck off to a cave that some other witches tell her about. So basically, Hellboy threatens another witch that's hanging around there with death.
And the other witch is actually I've forgotten what the name of the character was, but she was in Hemlock Grove.
Didn't know.
She was in Hemlock Grove, and she played the main girl character in Hemlock Grove. She was a blonde. She died at the end of season 1. She had a baby.
Oh, you just ruined that for everybody.
Yeah, she has a baby.
Well done.
Spoiler alerts. Anyway, so yes, Hemlock Grove's been out for 10 years almost.
No.
Yeah.
10 years.
Yep.
Bullshit. 6 at the most.
No, it's more than that.
No. Look it up. I'll talk to the people. So, I said Pip said 10. I said 6. It's not 10 years. No way. So, anyway, so this witch basically says, come on. I will... you keep nudging out of the frame.
I'm actually sat on pillows to be remotely the same height as Myk. I've got really long legs and he's got a really long torso, so when I sit down, I'm like down here. So I'm sat on pillows and they keep wobbling and knocking me out of frame.
Oh, that's special. So, the witch directs them to go and find Merlin in this secret place. What are we talking here? 2013.
2013, so 10 years.
If you can't count.
10 years! I'm totally right. No, okay, 7 years. 6 years. 6 years. I honestly thought it was far more than that. But no, you were totally right.
Yeah, no, Netflix
right,
has a bigger deal.
So they fuck off to find Merlin in a cave.
Find Merlin in a cave. So he unburies Merlin.
Merlin is buried in the cave because he helped King Arthur do something.
So of all the contrived stuff that was...
This is the second one.
The two bum notes in this was the opening sequence and Merlin had some really hammy lines. So Merlin says to him, okay...
He smelled really hammy as well, I bet.
Yeah, he looked pretty ripe. So Merlin says to him, I'll save her, but you got to do the thing. Like anything you can do to basically... Whatever you got to do to win this fight, you got to do it. So Hellboy says, yeah, sure, whatever, that's cool.
Yep.
So Merlin saves everybody and says to him, guess what, motherfucker? You are the rightful king of England, which was the real reason that the Wild Hunt guys wanted to kill him.
Yeah, that they wanted to kill him. So he's due the crown of England because he is the rightful heir to the crown of England. Because
to anybody not coming in from like the comic books would be like, what the fuck? I thought this was a devil movie. This is not the Arthur story.
His mother is like King Arthur's great granddaughter or something like that. So anyway, so his lineage, she then shagged a big goat demon. They got married. She went to hell, had a big hell baby. Hell baby come out of earth. Boom! There we go. Yeah. Hellboy.
It's
a comic book. He finds out that he's part human. Part human and it's related to King Arthur. So he really is the last of the bloodline and is due the throne.
And he can wield Excalibur.
He can wield Excalibur.
So he basically, Merlin says to him, here, take Excalibur. So he's just about to grab it and then... Don't be disgusting, woman.
No, I literally wasn't. Like, he's just about to grab the sword.
That's the one time you weren't being...
No!
Sorry. So then he has the vision of what he's going to become if he takes the sword, and he says, nope, I'm good. So he's going to become the beast of the apocalypse and destroy the world. And
yeah, so the images you've seen in the trailers with his crown and his horns and the flamey sword and the flying on the winged the beast dragon thing. So that's not that's a vision.
Yeah.
Not
which was kind of what I
happens
thought
in the movie. Yeah, because it's the film is too short for them to be able to fit that in without it. So I love he keeps pulling me back towards it.
So he basically says, "Nah, bro, I'm okay."
Yeah.
And then Merlin says, "You lying piece of shit! You lying piece of shit! I used the last of my magic." And then he dies and he crumbles.
Like crumbles and it's really gross. And like a moth. A moth flies out of a hole in his face, which is sort of symbolism for his soul, and it flies up and gets eaten by a seagull. And then a crow just munches him. It's a seagull.
Was it a seagull?
Yeah.
I thought it was a crow.
No, it's a seagull.
So,
anyway, got shot on by a seagull.
Oh, that was funny.
Sorry, we went out to a restaurant after dinner and there was some woman drying her cardigan in the toilets because a seagull had shat on her. And everyone in the toilet, all the other women in the toilets going, "But it's so lucky." She's like, "It's not fucking lucky. I'm covered in poo." And I'm just there going, "Well, you're lucky it didn't go in your hair." Her friend was like, "Yes, that." So yeah, sorry, this is the shit that happens when you go out.
Oh, that's great.
Merlin's collapsing things. Hellboy's got a note of a sword.
Back in London. Blood Queen is laying waste to everything. She's setting a trap. Hellboy and everybody, basically, they get a text message saying, shit has hit the fan. BPRD dead. So they scoot cross country all the way back down to London and discover blood stains everywhere.
Everything's fucking, and people are just turning to there's pustules and blisters and gore and stuff.
It's really good.
It's very effective.
It hasn't got to the kind of crazy stuff. There's monsters flying around up above and stuff.
That's much later.
No, that's as they're coming in. So
No. The crazy flying monsters was when the void opened.
No, that was when it got exacerbated.
Right. Okay.
So there were monsters and stuff flying around when they were coming in.
Right.
And basically, so Hellboy and Alice and I keep getting it. Damon.
Daniel Day Kim.
Yeah, Daniel Day Kim. So they turn up there at their final kind of showdown.
Yep.
And to discover Pig Guy, Gregor, has been. There's 3 times the amount of bacon on that guy as there was in any other shot. So
he's a baconator.
He's been turbo-sized.
He's better than our baconaise that we have in the kitchen.
Baconaise rocks.
Smoky baconaise.
But it makes me horizontally tall. No. So the fight kicks off.
Yeah.
Hellboy he goes to town. The fight sequences are amazing.
Yeah.
I just love it. It's just fun.
And at that point, Daniel Day Kim gets trapped under a piece of chunk of wall.
And he totally leopards out.
Yes, he decides he's not going to do his injection. He's like,
he's a were-jaguar.
He's like, "Get away from me!
Get away from me!" and his nails pop out of his hand. Fingers. That was really fun.
I would have loved him to just turn to a little kitten and just goes, "Meow," and that would have really. He's just sitting there, like, "Well, that was ineffective."
Oh God.
Sorry, yeah, loud bang of our neighbours slamming doors because they're wankers.
Neighbours
suck. Everybody's neighbours are wankers.
They cook fish.
We hope they all would die and they would stop cooking fish.
Cooking fish. Yeah, they cook fish.
It smells bad.
It's like the worst fish smell you've ever. It's
the first time it happened to us. We were working on his computer, which is against the wall that is where their room is, the wall that they seem to shag against.
Angrily. We think they're breaking up. We're not sure. We're waiting for the next episode. It's basically
on the next episode of Our Neighbours Are Wankers. We think they might be getting separated. But they cut fish. We're sitting there just by his computer, going like, "That's not you. That's not me.
No, that is.
Where is that coming from?" It's like
that is like
the plug sockets.
The worst, the most scary.
Like we leave the room and spray the room, and it's like it's really bad.
It's like.
Because we don't do well with bad smells.
It's like hot sick on a brick
with fish.
Yeah, like if you ate a whole salmon and then
vomited it onto a hot brick
and then guzzled vinegar and then just kind of threw it up on a dead horse and left it in a closed car for 3 weeks. It's that kind of a smell.
A very descriptive one.
Also Trump with his trousers off. It's that kind of a smell.
It smells like Trump looks with his trousers off.
Yes.
Right. fishy and disappointing.
God.
So anyway, back to Hellboy.
So yeah, Were Jaguar. You have this really fun kind of 3-way fight sequence with Alice in the background shooting and throwing guns, and Hellboy kicking ass, and the Jaguar's
like leaping in and doing cat stuff. We're not big on cats, so we're just gonna like, it's a big cat. Woo!
Then he basically they sort of beat the pig,
and then they get stopped. He's going to smash Hellboy in with the font.
That's it.
Which I really was expecting the font to like dribble holy water onto the pig and have the pig going.
But that actually would have been fun.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting. But anyway, so he goes to smash Hellboy with the font, but Nimue turns up and says, No,
I want to jump that thing's bones.
And so she shrinks him to a teeny weeny little pig that explodes.
Yeah, Gragok basically, she's fulfilled her obligations to him.
The most aggressively gross horror scene. There's 2 witches that she's really pissed at.
And she just
goes, and their bones disappear from their bodies and they just start crunching and their faces just like...
Yeah. Oh.
If you can find this scene when somebody shares it on YouTube, somebody will. It's so harrowing. They're just like
you don't even have to look it up on YouTube. Just go see this goddamn movie.
Yeah, go see the movie.
There's so many, but the entire film is just speckled with those kind of moments,
and
from beginning to end.
So we haven't even got to my favourite bit yet.
Yeah. Okay. So
anyway, so she then says to Hellboy, she smashes through the floor, and there's the actual resting place of there's Excalibur with King Arthur, because the idea was that Merlin had summoned Excalibur to come.
Yeah, and then he declined.
But then Hellboy had gone decline, and when he swiped right again, he swiped right again, and Excalibur was there with King Arthur. And he's like, oh, this is a tastier deal than just the Excalibur. This is Excalibur with King Arthur. Yeah. So anyway, so what happens is, unfortunately, you then find out that his missing dad, who is missing from BPRD, she slits his throat, throws him into the hole. He bleeds to death in Hellboy's arms. And Hellboy's been told by Baba Yaga that with his 2 eyes he will see the thing that he loves dying. All the people he loves die. Yeah. So you see his dad die in his arms, and he picks up the sword and turns into Super Hellboy. It gives him like plus 3 to dexterity and plus 4 to anger, plus 5 to world domination.
To horns.
And it's big horns and big pretty crown.
He sprouts the horns and the fiery crown.
And so he climbs out sword. And he's like, hey babe.
He's super Hellboy.
Yeah, he's just like, hey babe, to Nimue. He's like, hey, you're kind of funky, and I'm kind of funky, and I'm kind of flamey. And
hey, you like
they
my
touch hands.
You like my hairy back?
He has a really fucking hairy back.
It's really fun. Yeah, I know, like me. So then there's this kind of moment where Alice breaks out her channeling
thing on the dead dad.
So she runs past.
You get face goop.
And basically face palms Daddy Broom.
Yep, and
brings him back from the dead
the big
for a
blobby
moment.
Thing, and he's like talking to Hellboy.
And he basically stands there and says, "You, strap on a pair. Don't be a dick. You're a man. I raised you to be a man. Be a good guy. You're a good fucking man. You don't need this shit. Now fucking take care of business."
Now.
And that sounds really toxic the way I'm putting it across.
But that's what he says.
But that's not it. He basically says, "Dude,
you are a human. You are as human as anyone else.
You're my fucking son. Stop bitching about it."
So, but the thing that, whilst this is happening, so the second he picked up the sword, the earth split open all the way down to hell.
And all the monsters.
And all the monsters come out, and so there's like flying creatures, and there's these 3 or 4...
Double monsters.
Ginormous demons, and they're all like different forms, and they're so horrifically beautiful.
If you watch it for nothing else,
my god, they're amazing. They're like picking up people and ripping off their faces and flinging them and like slicing the bodies over stuff and like spearing them with legs made of swords, and it's just...
The one just turns up there and he kind of climbs out and he looks over and he picks this guy up, and the thing's got a sword for an arm
with like a hollow at the top.
Yeah, with like a sharp hollow. So he just kind of hooks him over it, skins him off, like pulls the skin off, and then he gets to work on this guy, and it's just blood.
You're just watching, you're like, it's just literally this just goes blood and guts and gore and everything.
Clive Barker.
It was so Clive Barker. It was just magic. It was very Guillermo del Toro as well. It was
honestly
the way that the style of his monsters.
Yeah, the style of it.
That's what I mean.
But it's he's got this kind of like slow creeping thing.
No,
there was no subtlety.
The design of the creatures was very Guillermo del Toro. None of us what I meant. I just meant there wasn't any. There was no subtlety. Things turned to mince. So this is all happening while Hellboy's holding the sword, and then finally, after Daddy-O convinces some sense into him, or knocks some sense into him, or talks sense into him, he goes, whack, and takes off her head.
Conveniently rounding the plot
back.
Pulling it back to full circle.
To which he says, is it like, maybe next time you'll keep your head, or whatever, and he just like drops it into hell.
Just kind of chucks it into the hell crevasse before it falls over, and he pulls his horns off.
I stabs his sword into the ground, so stabs Excalibur. I'm tired and I've had only one cup of tea. We need to shower and bath.
Let's round this thing up.
Okay, so stabs Excalibur into the ground.
Yes.
Hell sucks all hell back into it.
Yep.
And then it
everybody kind of has that like denouement where they all sit down there and go, yeah, we cool.
We did stuff.
London's totally fucked.
London is fucked. You see that London is still fucked, and then it cuts to like future where they're fighting some other guys in the Siberia.
And it's a solid sequence. Like it's a really nice
another fight scene.
And it's
and they're all the characters that you got Daniel Day Kim going. They're going, turn into Catman. He's like, I can't be Catman. It's like, it's anger and other things. How I punched him in the face, and he's like, no, it's subtlety and anger. Punch him in the face again. It's like, for fuck's sake, it doesn't work like that.
Right-handed doom to the face.
And then he turns into Cat.
Wow, come on. And then you have this whole sequence with the kind of weird Jaguar kind of running along the ceiling and kicking the shit out of things, and Alice is just punching guys in the groin.
And so it was wonderful, and then that sort of ends, and the titles came up, and everyone else left the cinema.
You got that moment of kind of like the reveal of Abe Sapien. So they discover the tube.
Yes, the tube
you just get
with
the hand on the glass at the end, which was nice.
Which was sorry, I forgot to mention that. Yeah,
it's subtle, like
And then so the titles came up and we watched everyone leave the cinema, and Mike was like, I'm going to sit because we're going to see if anything else happens. And I'm like, I totally fucking agree.
My eyes are watering. I need to pee badly, but I'm in here for the course.
So of course everyone else, literally everyone else left. There was only about 10, 20 people at the most.
Not even.
Was it 10 people?
We were I can tell you now, two.
There was two guys across from us, there was two guys behind us, and there was Fat Chick in front of us.
Yeah, well, she counted for three.
This girl just kept looking at her phone, and it really annoyed me.
I nearly...
Yeah.
If you're going to do that, go!
Instagram!
Stop fucking around. She's chatting on Facebook Messenger to somebody. Oh my god, so hungry. Movie taking forever.
As a squishy person, I'm not complaining about her weight. It's just there was no other describable features than she was a really big girl on her phone in the middle of the film.
For the whole
movie. And she was on her own.
It's like shining it in our faces as well. Like, I don't really care what she's doing.
Because we sat in the seats that we booked.
Yeah.
That was quite cool because we went to the cinema and it's like we were the only people that booked seats because we didn't know.
That was fun.
And they're like, you must be Mike Pilgrim. And they hands him tickets and he's like, yeah, I am.
It was really fun.
It was. So anyway, everyone left the cinema.
Two behind us, one in front and two at the other side. So
was that it?
That was it.
Oh, okay. So they all left.
Yeah.
And then we're like, a new scene comes up and we're like, yes, we did the right thing.
There's Hellboy drunk as a skunk over his dad's grave. He's like, oh, Dad, and Lobster Johnson turns up there and he's basically Hellboy's superhero who actually was a dude who used to kick the shit out of Nazis back in the day.
And like burn a lobster claw into their foreheads. So the devil knew who sent them.
Yeah. And he basically says, Your dad would be fucking ashamed. Get your shit together, boy. Get your shit together.
He's like, Lobster Johnson! Lobster Johnson!
And he's a ghost, so he just walks through him. He's what the fuck?
Yeah, I was like, he leaves. He's like, I love you, Lobster Johnson.
Oh, it's magic.
And there's like ends.
Roll credits.
We were like, okay, that was awesome.
Solid. And I like.
Yeah.
We've
talked for an hour and it's all disjointed and gobbledygooky and we'll have to end it.
To be completely honest, I think this is what these podcasts and these reviews are going to become long term.
Yeah.
Because like I think our natural thing is disjointed and
it was
rolling
just
ahead.
Good. It was so good.
I was 20 minutes into that film and I was squeezing your hand and I was like, I want to watch this thing again already. And this is fun. It's not the fanboy talking here either. It was just all the things that I like about film. And that's kind of just fun. Like having a good fucking time. We did, and this whole film it's a good time.
I was prepared for us. We were both prepared that we were not going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And that we were going to be disappointed, but we weren't. It was really, really fun. It was entertained. I was never bored.
I was so thrilled.
I was like, the only thing that took me away from the movie at any point was the fact that there was a smear on the screen that we were watching it on.
Yeah, but that cinema is not a great place.
No.
And that's why I don't. That's why we don't go there very often.
Yeah. It's because the cinema we would have gone to wouldn't have shown this film till 8 8:50 at night, and we have to travel by bus, and we live in the middle of nowhere.
Just in between vehicles at the moment, and it's kind of so.
Yeah,
it's my fault, for fuck's sake.
I don't know how to drive, so it's kind of my fault too. I should probably learn. I'm 30. Yeah. I will learn how to drive.
Yeah, you will, dear. But yeah, to round it all out, totally worth the time. And if you've stuck with us for the full 54 minutes at this point,
and you don't mind having heard every single fucking spoiler and the whole description of the movie, go see it.
Go and see the damn thing,
You'll
please.
love it.
Like if I could go and watch this thing again right now,
we
I'd
would.
go.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that seems to be missing in the common culture is that everybody's just yelling and screaming and carrying on, and nobody says, "I just love this because I love it."
Yeah, I just simply enjoyed it. It entertained me. It didn't have to be perfect to entertain me.
There were two major bum notes, but it had everything that I was looking for.
But as standard as most films go that we see nowadays, that's pretty fucking good.
That's actually low level, because most of the films, even we were talking about it earlier, even in the last 6 months,
we've not seen many films that we have gone, this is one of our films, and we don't. Yeah. We buy a lot of DVDs. Like, we pick up things that we like.
We watch movies all the time, and it's
movies.
you might like this entire run here behind me.
There's things we need to watch,
and that entire run back there, and most of those ones above there. That's just our to watch pile.
Yeah, that's that, and they're all
that's
like
not the whole to watch pile.
A lot of them are obscure, random horror stuff, and then we've got over there favorites and 90s and modern horror. Non-horror. Mike's favorite horror is up here.
We've got a lot of stuff, and we see a lot of films. And the truth is like this bare minimum of entertain me.
Yeah.
We are here to be entertained, and we're here to have a story, and it ticked all of those boxes.
Yep.
And most of them, when we say this had 2 bum notes in it, I mean legitimately there were just two.
Yeah.
Most of the other films you watch will be 8, 10, 12 bum notes, and unapologetic bum notes.
Yeah.
Like, you see what we did there, we know we did that, and we're drawing attention to it to point out to you that we don't even respect you enough to come up with a better reason. It's like people believe that being meta about something means that they can make a bad film. Yeah. Like, you saw what we did there, we saw what you did there, and fuck you, that's what we did, and you're gonna laugh because we're referring to it in the third person right now. And I'm as convoluted as that was.
I know, I'm tired and confused.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
But Hellboy good.
Hellboy good.
Go see.
Go see. Please go see.
Go see. David Harbour makes a very good Hellboy. He was really good. Man. He was fun. He was fun.
It. The costume was spot on.
The costume was. I didn't find myself at all going. I was not comparing it to Ron Perlman.
No. At
all. I love Ron Perlman as Hellboy. I love David Harbour as did I say Pearlboy or Hellboy?
Moving on.
I love both of them. I love them for completely different reasons, and I love all of the movies. This was brilliant. The original ones were brilliant.
This was a much more gory.
Yeah. This was definitely. If you like horror, this is perfect for you.
This is a proper horror film. It's much more the spirit of the comics.
And we're gonna round this up.
Until next time.
We will be right back.
We'll be right back.
Bye.
Cheers.
That's just a small portion of the torture that awaits you.